Well, hello everyone. My name is Wayne Rogers and I'm here to help you all celebrate the life of Dorothy Joan GILCHRIST, and I'm sure she was just known as Dot to many. I know I grew up knowing Dot and she was just Dot to me. Before we start, can I remind you all to put your phones on silent or turn them off, please. As we start, I'd like to give our sincere condolences to Rob, Peg, Cindy, Kenneth, Hayley, Cassie, Tiana, Caden, Joel, Isabella and Liam. I hope I pronounced them all right. And Cherie. How did I forget you, Cherie? You're the most important, isn't that right? Cherie tells me she is. And of course we need to have a little mention to Dot's husband, Ken, and Bill, who are deceased. Can we also welcome everyone that's travelled to get here, and of course anyone that took the time out of your day to celebrate with us all. Thank you to all who are live streaming today, and we welcome you. I'd like to share a few words to start the proceedings. Right now, I'm in a different place, and though we seem apart, I'm closer than I ever was. I'm there inside your heart. I'm with you when you greet each day. And while the sun shines bright, I'm there to share the sunsets too. I'm with you every night. I'm with you when the times are good, to share a laugh or two. And if a tear should start to fall, I'll still be there for you. And when the day arrives that we are no longer apart, I'll smile and hold you close to me forever in my heart. Okay, we now have another song, Everything I Own. I take it this is something very special to Dot?
Yeah, for Rob.
For Rob?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kept me warm. You gave my life to me, set me free, set me free. The finest years I ever knew, for all the years I had with you. You never said too much, but still you showed the way. And I knew from watching you, nobody else could ever know the part of me that can't let go. just to touch you once again.
Thank you, Rob. That was very nice. Now we have some memories of Dot in pictures, and I need to mention that Peg is playing all the music that's in the background of this. one thing I take away from that is, although we live amongst our friends and our relatives, we really don't know what goes on in their life. And looking at those, the thing I take away is Dot certainly lived her life to the fullest. She wasn't afraid to do anything new, and she accepted everybody as whoever they were and whatever they did. And if she didn't like you, you knew. But that's probably most of us, I think. But I was one of the lucky ones. She liked me, so I never copped that end of Dot. But yeah, I have to say she certainly knew how to live life, and she has had a good life. I'd just like to say a little poem that might help you through this sad time, and it is a sad time. And remember, give yourselves time to grieve. It's okay to do that. And then we move out the other side. Everything you have done is still done. Everything you love is still loved. Everything we've learnt from you is still learnt. And so we will let pass from this world for which you did so much, for which you continue to do, because when we walk this earth, we walk it with you. You leave us with strength and pride and do what is good and right. And your memory will guide us just as you did when you were here at our side. For this, we say goodbye. The family has chosen a song that for me to sing, and it's my pleasure to do so. And I hope I do it right, because Dot will tell me if I don't. I know. I know Dot.
When all the world is a hopeless jumble and the raindrops tumble all around, heaven opens a magic lane. When all the clouds darken up the skyway, there's a rainbow highway to be found, leading from your window pane to a place behind the sun, just a step beyond the rain. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, blue skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why, then oh why can't I? Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why, and oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I?
How are we going? Has Stan arrived yet? Yes? Stan, would you like to come down? He'll have Dot to answer to, so. He doesn't look very scared, I must say. Please welcome Stan.
This is the cousin,
The cuz.
head of the family now, mate.
Yeah, oh yes.
Except
where's
for Uncle
Ken?
Trev, that is.
Trev's over there.
Yeah.
Trev. Oh, sorry. GILCHRISTs have always been
Late.
drama queen,
Oh,
late drama queens. Sadly, we came here and my wife, I was driving just down the front there and my wife suddenly got really, really sick. She had diarrhoea, she was ready to vomit, so I had to take her all the way back to where we're staying at the moment, so I apologise if I've disrupted.
oh yeah.
Righto. It's a huge honour to be asked to do this. I apologise if it's long, and if it's long, it's because that woman, there's pictures up there, did a lot of stuff, affected a lot of people, loved us all. So on behalf of Dot's children, Rob and Peg, haven't caught up with Rob?
He's over there.
Okay. Grandchildren, Cassie, Ken and Cherie, and great-grandchildren, Liam, Hayley, Joel, Tiana, Caden and Isabel, and all of their partners. And I was going to add one more person, but I apologise for my wife June, but Jack, my brother, and Cheryl are up the back as well. So on behalf of all of those, let me say, you're right?
Yeah, don't forget Auntie Enid.
Sorry?
And Auntie Enid's here.
No, Auntie Enid, I'm not going to say anything about her till later. Look, people have travelled long ways and we do thank you, and it is a special day and, as I said, a great honour for me to be asked to do this. So bear with me.
Away you go, mate. You can do it.
As a young boy in southwestern Queensland, Trevor and I were living the good life. My mum and my dad and brother Jack up the back, and we were given plenty of love, and especially from our grandparents who lived next door most of the time. A lot of that time in a canvas tent because they were rabbiters and kangaroo shooters, and they moved around wherever the game were. We were game to be there. You get that?
I got that die shock. I'm getting better.
Uncle Trev was not much older than me, and we were the the team larrikins, and we had a little brother called Jack who's sitting up there, and he was a little bloody pest. He was always hanging around where he shouldn't be. You're not saying anything, Trevor, are you? Gran and Pop and Ken, Uncle Ken, Dot's husband, the late Ken, rest in peace, mate, lived beside us, and Ken was my hero because, unlike Trevor, Ken used to wear a cowboy hat, and that was important to we young people out there in the bush. Ken had this mate called Don Johnston, and if that name rings a bell for you, it was Dot's maiden name. But Don was a bit of a star. We thought he was a real cowboy because he even carried a rifle.
Goodness.
But then along came this young woman, and I was 9 years old, and I knew she was hot. I didn't know what that meant, had no idea, but she was hot. And her name was Dot.
Hot Dot.
Hot Dot. So let's go through some things. Dorothy Joan Johnson was born 7 December 1933 in Dirranbandi District Hospital. It's a little way from here, but I hope you know where it is. To parents George Frederick Ernest Johnson and Dulcie Jean Johnson. She had 6 siblings: Sandy, Jean, Enid, Donnie, Sheila and Ruth. Grandfather Johnson was a labourer and stockman, hard-working, honourable, honest man, not uncommon out there at that time. Tough men, tough women, tough kids. We all had to be. Dot's childhood was particularly tough. She was educated through correspondence, Blackfriars correspondence. She often talked about how she and Enid and the others had to sweep the dirt floor until they were solid, like concrete. Sweep all the rubbish off the top, then you've got a nice surface in which to live in the house or in the tent, as it mostly was. She talked about scrubbing the cutting boards until they were snow white. Now that's tough, that's an assignment. She talked about, and we all had this, she talked about carrying water from the bore drain. Imagine how clean and wonderful that is. Better than they're getting in Gaza,
Wow.
but not real great. And so that had to be boiled and stood and allowed to is that on?
No, lucky for you.
She also talked about the good times, especially with her relation with Auntie Enid. And they'd lay under a tree and look up into the sky, watch the shape of the clouds. We've done this, haven't we? And looked at the fairies in the trees. I didn't do that. Trev, did you do that? No, I didn't think so. He's not a fairy sort of bloke. and the plants up there, like May Gibbs wrote about. Look, this is all stuff we can relate to so well. The whole family were rabbit trappers. We made a good living from it through the war years. We'd set up a permanent camp, or they would, Pop would, and we'd follow, I promise you. Our grandfather, he was the boss. And when the rabbits were trapped out of that area, we'd move on to another area. And that's how we that's how we kept ourselves alive.
And that's how you all met.
It is, and Peggy's just thrown that in, and that's also how we did all meet, because country people do get to know each other and do meet and do quickly relate to each other. For me and for Jack, the story just had a little break there because my dad bought a little property in Inverell, or out of Bacalla, which is north of Inverell, from my grandmother, maternal grandmother, and they built a little shack there and we lived there. The rest of the family, sooner or later, moved into the Tamworth area, and that's where the break was. Ken and Dot were married in Tamworth, St John's Church, on the 20th of April 1953. I was a little boy, just finishing primary school, to just put perspective. In 1954, they had their first son, William Fair. Rest in peace, Billy. 2 years later, they had Robert. He's still here. And 11 years later, they had this other strange girl. I don't really know her. Wait for it. Wait. Marguerite Janet. Peggy. 1967. Now, a little bit about Dot's history, and as I said, I apologise because that woman was amazing. We need a lot of time to cover this. Out west, Dot became the station housemaid at Noondah Shed, and also at the main station at Noondah Shed for a Mrs. Young. She was a professional kangaroo shooter with Ken.
Mum was, not Mrs. Young.
Sorry, Mum was. I mean, Auntie Dot was. Ken always said that Dot was a better shot than him, and I believe that because I can tell another funny story about one day my dad and my Uncle Ken went out into a paddock where the grass was high, and my dad saw two ears twitching. He thought I better wait a moment, and over the top came Ken in his cowboy hat with the two sides sitting up.
Oh,
Yeah.
what was he doing?
Well, they were going round. They were going to hunt roos round towards each other, and
Oh, my God.
Now, Dot also taught Billy and Robbie by correspondence. When she came to Tamworth, she worked at the Central Hotel, and then a bit later, when the boys went to high school, she worked at the knitting factory, the sewing factory, the chicken processing factory. You should be noting all these down because there's a long line. After retirement, however, she worked from home in the child care industry up until she was 80.
Thereabouts.
The moves from... You want to read this?
Well, you just bloody read it.
The moves from Queensland, as I said, were somewhat sad for Jack and myself. We didn't see very much of our cousins, of our uncles, of our grandparents. They lived here at Katingal, Porcupine Lane. We lived Bacalla, north of Inverell. Everybody was busy. My dad worked. Pop eventually set some traps, and one day when going around, didn't come home. George Gilchrist, a trapper true and through. The next time we actually caught up with Ken and Dot and the kids, they'd settled in Porcupine Lane. Sometimes Uncle Ken wouldn't be there. He'd be up north where he loved the life, the brumbies, the kangaroos, the shooting, the tough life. Dot, meanwhile, kept the home going and still did all these things. Whenever we went in there, she'd offer us a coffee or a pot of tea, not a cup of tea, a pot of tea, and you know the deal, take the pot to the kettle, not the kettle to the pot. And we all learned that early in our lives. She was the only, you listen to this, she was the only person in my life who called me Stanley, and that was when I was in trouble with my mother. So two people. Few people have tried it since, and you should see them. One of the good things about the visits was the jam session, and I don't mean the scones and beautiful presentation of food and drinks that she gave us. I mean the music session, because Dot loved music. I don't want to try to talk about all the artists that she loved, but let me throw these few about. Bing Crosby. My favourite song, Peter the Fisherman.
Pedro.
Pedro, sorry. I wrote that too. Geez, I'm glad I got you here.
I know. I bet you please yark me now.
No, but look, she liked all types of music, as a lot of country folk do. And that's how Dot and Ken got together. Ken was a country guitar man, and that was one of the things that we loved, was sitting on the front of the old Ford on the bumper bar with Pop with the accordion, Ken with the guitar, my dad with the guitar down the other end, and so it went on. Someone on a mouth organ, and she can't get away with it, can she, Sazza? When country music was a fledgling industry, Dot and Ken became founding members of the Capital Country Music Association, 1973, and Dot stayed heavily involved almost until when she passed away. In fact, she'd just been volunteered, I think, to be the club's new treasurer.
She was already the vice president.
That's right, she was already serving as vice president. Over 50 years, Dot served on the CCMA committee and was a highly respected life member, and that's not given lightly. Dot was the glue that held so many of our family together, and she'll be very, very terribly missed. She was a community-minded girl, serving on many committees. She learnt to play the piano accordion, and she and Ken had gathered with a group of friends, CCA members to start, later's other, including Wayne Rogers, and long-time family friends and neighbours, the Taylors. And they entertained the elderly, maybe some of us, in housing homes around Tamworth. When Peg was old enough and learned how to play, she was included. Can she play, Lindsay? All right. Vote of confidence, that's good. Anyway,
Cousins like
yeah,
that.
there was always music there. Look, Ken on the guitar, Billy lead guitar, Robbie on the bass, and Peg on the organ, and Dot revving them up. Dot used to tape those sessions and send them out to people for Christmas presents.
Weren't they lucky?
How good is that? How good is that? Families, how much we can learn from this lady about keeping families together, tying us to our roots, I suppose you can say. I'm going to leave that a little bit out. Dot's interest. I told you this was long. It's all Peggy's fault.
Well, it is. I'll take it.
Dot's interests. And here again, let me remind you, this is a woman who is looking after her household while husband's chasing rabbits or doing whatever else he was doing. This is a woman who was educating, bringing up a family. This is a woman who was getting involved in community affairs. I'm getting tired already. And I think when we add these things, she loved reading, she loved movies, she loved music, she loved board games, she loved craft. My sister-in-law, Cheryl, standing up the back there, said that Dot taught her a number of crafts. Cheryl's better than Dot. Good one?
Brownie points. Jeez.
Yeah. Dot loved reading poems and books. Favourite authors, listen to this list: May Gibbs, Daphne du Maurier, Henry Lawson, and especially Banjo Patterson. She loved movies. Favourite movie stars, this is not bad either: Gregory Peck, Cary Grant, Charles Bronson, Ingrid Bergman, Katharine Hepburn and Grace Kelly. Favourite director? Alfred Hitchcock.
It's true too. I couldn't stand watching those movies.
She loved Disney movies like Snow White, Song of the South, and her favourite movie of his was Bambi. She also loved hard action, bloody movies like Death Wish, for example. What's wrong with this woman? Later in life, she loved the Daniel Steele movies and various other crime stories like Cabinet QC, Inspector George Gently, Inspector Morse. That's a huge range of interests. And, you know, when we think about ourselves and we think, I think, what are my interests? I haven't got anything like that.
It's all right, you've got a son that plays cricket.
Card games, jigsaws, board games. She loved playing the games and was very good at them. The master at Chinese checker, and no one could beat her.
I couldn't anyway.
When she had no one else, she would fully set up the board and play against herself, and she used to win. Yeah, arguably craft was Dot's biggest love, second only to her family, of course. She was an award-winning embroiderer and seamstress, and she loved paper craft, making cards, boxes, and that's what Cheryl's followed her along with. She taught people how to design and create greeting cards, tatting, candle wicking, sewing, knitting and crochet. She enjoyed her monthly social craft classes held in her kitchen or dining room, and her flits in turn enjoyed her gatherings. By the way, Dot taught her mother, Mrs. Johnston, how to make bread.
Auntie Enid told me that.
Auntie Enid would know more about that, so you can ask her afterwards if you want to. During COVID-19, and some of you will know about this, she set up making face masks, special face masks for people with all sorts of beautiful designs and cuts and shapes.
Cousin Pat.
Pat was part there, right? Sorry. So Dottie's craft, Dottie and Patty's craft, I suppose, ended up making cutlery holders for motels and many other COVID-related crafts during that period. Yeah.
We end up making just close to 4,000 masks, and we sent them to several overseas countries and every state in Australia.
So you didn't hear all of that. They made 7,000?
4,000.
Just on 4,000.
4,000 face masks, which were sent not only to every state in Australia, but also overseas as well. And that...
The doctors and pathology in Newcastle had big orders.
Wow. Local hospitals, Newcastle and Sydney, put in orders, and I think that's worth an acknowledgement.
Thanks, Dan.
Dot was a proud Johnston clanswoman. We're nearly finished. As are Enid, look at that scarf, Peg.
Don't you dare.
It's lovely, I love it.
Oh,
I love it.
thank you, cousin.
Except it's not a McLaughlin.
I've got a McLaughlin one,
Oh dear.
but I'm not a commissioner of McLaughlin.
Well, Enid, Peg, Marianne, Myette and other members of the family, when the Australian Celtic Festival began in Glen Innes, 1992, she was keen to attend. A couple of years later, she was able to go, and she continued for 30 years, nearly 30 years, going to the Glen Innes Cowboy Festival. No, sorry.
Who brought you? Fair dinkum.
You wish I was later. Flying the Clan Johnson banner proudly in her colours every year down the main street of Glen Innes. You can just see this, look, down the main street of Glen Innes during the festival parade, and then up to the standing stones. Goodness gracious. She was very proud when Peg and Myette became clan commissioners for their states. So well done. A totally self-sufficient, independent woman, still driving with a full licence right up until her passing. In fact, only a couple of months ago, she drove all the way to Dirranbandy to visit Enid. That's some drive. She still held a shooter's licence and was still a crack shot. Look, that was long, and I apologise again, but it barely scratches the surface. You can imagine all the other little subsidiary side things that would go with all of that. this person, well, Peg rang me one day and she said, Mum passed away this morning. And there was just silence like that, because I didn't know what to say, because I didn't want to make this darling girl get any more upset, and she didn't want to tell me any more. But we knew.
We did.
We knew.
I reckon you've covered it, cuz.
Yeah. Look, I'll finish by saying thank you for the opportunity, and I'll say, rest in peace, Dorothy Joan GILCHRIST, forever in our hearts. You all right? Okay.
Yep, I'm good.
Wow, how do you follow that? Do as you're told. Okay, before we finish up, I'd like to thank Peg and Rob for having me do this for them. It's been a great honour and a pleasure. The family would like you to join them in the dining room for some refreshments afterwards, if you would like to do that. Can I just ask those who are able to stand, please, as we say goodbye to Dot as we know her, but always remember she's in your heart no matter where you go. Don't think of her as gone away. Her journey's just begun. Life holds so many facets. This earth is only one. Just think of her as resting from the sorrows and the tears, in a place of warmth and comfort where there are no days or years. Think how she must be wishing that we could know today how nothing but our sadness can really pass away. And think of her as living in our hearts of those she touched, for nothing loved is ever lost as she was loved so much. Okay. Yeah, Dot. Do you want to give it a push, Peg?
Is it this one?
Yeah.
Come on, Mum. Don't be difficult. Here comes Sean to the rescue.
Yay.
coachman was always whistling such a merry call. Girls who were passing by would hear him whistling by the harbor wall. But his sweetheart Nina, who loved him true, always knew that his call was meant for her alone. And in the evening when the lights were gleaming and they had to part, as he sailed his boat away, echoing across the bay, came the song that lingered in her heart. But days of dreaming quickly pass and life goes rolling on. And one day from the harbor wall she found his boat had gone. He'd sailed away to find the gold the sea could never bring, to buy a dress, a cuckoo clock, a saucepan, and a ring. She kept her eyes on the blue horizon, but he didn't return. She stopped her sighing and stopped her crying, 'cause he didn't return. One day her father said to her, "Oh, dearest daughter mine, you never make a lot from fish, you make much more from wine. Though Miguel is very fat, his vineyard's doing well. So marry him and let your dream of Pedro go to." The organ peals, the choir voice sings, the preacher's ready with the book and ring. So small and white, here comes the bride, and stands by suave Miguel's side. Will you take this man to be your lawful spouse eternally? Then suddenly the church is still. They wait to hear her say, "I will." When from the open doorway there, a familiar sound disturbs the air. Suddenly she found her man from the church. Out she ran there to meet him by the harbor wall. Down rushed the wedding guests upon the quayside, but the bride had gone. As with love they sailed away, echoing across the bay, came the happy ending to our song.
Spend all your time waiting for that second chance, for a break that would make it okay. There's always some reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. I need some distraction. Oh, beautiful release. Memories seep from my veins. Let me be empty. Oh, comfort here.